Hello, my name is Marianna. I'm here to just give you a brief introduction on the documentation needed in order to become an expert or a patient representative with the agency. Some of you will probably be familiar with the process, and for those who don't, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll try to explain. Thank you. So I'm just going to talk about the inclusion in the agency's experts database. All scientific committee members and experts must be included in this database. Patient representatives are considered to be part of the experts. This is in order to be involved in the activities of the agency. The documents needed for the inclusion in the database are nomination form, public declaration of interest, and your CV. So I'll go next. So the DOI. The DOI serves for the purpose of the agency and the general public to make them aware of any potential conflicts that might arise from your previous interests or even current ones. So we ask you to declare any current activities and those within the past 5 years. If you're unsure whether the interest relates to a medicinal product or a pharmaceutical company, you can always either contact us for a clarification or just declare it under any other interests, and we will correct you if needs to be. If during your involvement with the EMA you acquire any additional new interests, we would ask you to update your DOI at the time to include these as well. I will show you what a blank DOI looks like for those who haven't seen it yet, just to give you a little familiarity. So some personal details that we ask you to complete are name, surname, company if you work for a company, country that you come from, and your email address. Your email address will never be published, so you don't need to worry about that. As for the user type, you would qualify as an expert if you're a patient representative. Then there are various sections where if you have nothing to declare, you simply click no, and that's how it will stay. If you do have something to declare and you take yes, this area appears where you can declare your interests. And if you're unsure about anything, there are these little nodes that, again, you can click on, and you will see the explanation of what it is and whether you need or don't need to declare it. So I won't guide you through every single section of the form, because you'll probably get bored. But as I mentioned at the beginning, if you're unsure about anything, there is always any other interest or facts, and you can declare the interest there, or you can check with our staff. Once you're done, you complete your name, and you click on this button, Submit by Email. Okay, I'm not going to submit it. What will happen is the DOI will come through to us into the database, and you will receive an email in return saying that your DOI has been submitted. Thank you very much. And you will need to electronically sign it or validate it as it's known. Before you can validate your DOI, you will need to submit our recently popular electronic CV. So I'll just guide you through that. Okay. So eCV is a new requirement which we have deployed in September this year, and we've done it because the CVs that we previously had were kept in paper. They were stored in one location, they were never updated, and they weren't published either. So to increase the transparency and to keep an up-to-date information about our experts, the electronic CV has been designed. We have tried to make it as user-friendly as possible, but of course we're always keen on getting more customer feedback to improve it if we can. All CVs of experts are published, similar to the DOI. In fact, it's right next to the DOI on the website. And if you would like to see the published version before you submit it, you can do this. You can preview your CV before you actually submit it into the system. CVs are mandatory to be completed. If they aren't completed, then you won't be able to participate in activities of the agency. And as I've mentioned a minute ago, if you don't complete a CV, you won't be able to sign a DOI, so it's all one process. And when it's time to update your DOI, which is valid for 1 year, the system will also remind you to update your CV if there are any changes. If not, you simply tick a box to say there are no changes. So what you put into eCV, we encourage the experts to provide as much information as possible, but we understand that as patient representatives, you might not want to declare your previous work experience or education. It may not be relevant to the role you're taking in the agency. So because of that reason, it is not mandatory for you to provide this information. If you wish to do so, you're most welcome, of course. Okay, so the process. Right. This is what I've practically described already, just with pictures and some extra text. I suspect this presentation will be circulated after the workshop, so you can have a look at it then. It is pretty much already what I've said. So I'll just guide you now through the eCV quickly. Okay. So if you're submitting an electronic CV for the first time, it is the very same system that we use for submission of DOI, so it's all under one umbrella. You log in to start using your sign-in credentials. That will be sent to you if you're a new expert from our IT once you've submitted the declaration of interest. And you can see the section up here, there's declaration of interest, and there is the CV section. So if you're about to complete your CV, you would click on the CV. Sorry. Now, there are two ways you can submit your CV. If you already have an existing CV in a Europass format, which we were being told is very popular across the European organizations, you can click on this highlighted button here and you can upload it. The one little thing I will say here, it must be version 3.0. Europass is a company that tend to update the CV every now and then, and if it's a different version than the one they currently use, it won't be accepted by our system. So if you have one, you can use this. If not, then we have what we call an online editor, which is in the same screen, just simply scroll down. And you can see the work experience. You can insert work experience, add more experience. Yeah. If you don't wish to add anything, your name will already be included, and you can simply, you can copy and paste extra information that may be relevant or you consider to be relevant at the bottom, or you can just leave it blank as a patient representative and click on submit. This button here will only appear if you're updating a CV. So what I mentioned, you can tick this to say it's up to date and submit. If you're submitting a new CV, you go straight into the submit. If anything does go wrong during the submission, this system always saves your CV as a draft. So if, say, I don't know, your computer switches off for whatever reason and you go back to it, the information will be saved as a draft. Okay, so here we submit. And you will see this green banner at the top telling you your CV was submitted, and you can view it as a PDF in a way that it will be published. Okay. The rest of this guidance is about updating an existing CV, which doesn't appear by the look of it, but it's a part of what I've just described. As always, if you have any questions, you can email us or call us, and we'll be happy to help where we can. So that's the guidance. Does anybody have any questions so far? No?
Just very, very quickly,
Yep.
just to help with a couple of tips, just obviously having done this through with lots and lots of you. When you submit your DIY, you'll get an automatic message saying that you will shortly receive your username and password. If you don't receive it, look in your spam folder, because sometimes these generated messages go into your spam folder. So have a look if it's there. When you do receive it and you try and log on straight away, if it doesn't work, just wait a few hours, because sometimes if you're doing it very quickly, the system is not as quick as you. So sometimes when you receive it, if it's not working straight away, just leave it for a few hours and try again a bit later. So it's just a couple of tips. And as Marianne said as well, in terms of the CV, as a patient representative, you can just tick the little box at the very beginning of the CV and you don't have to fill anything else in unless you want to.